Hello students, I'm Dr. Sonia Kaur Bansal. Welcome you to the Gyanvyar School of Education, Suresh Gyanvyar University. And today's my topic is reading skills. And in the subject pedagogy of a school, subject English. So students, my learning objective of today's class is just to enable you for the understanding of reading skills, what is reading skill, and what are the factors involving in reading skills, how you can achieve a good reading skill, and in what way reading skill affects the language skills in whole and soul situation. So let's understand. I hope all of you will listen it attentively and then grasp the meaning of reading skills in a very good way. So students, some people think of the act of reading as a straightforward task that's easy to master. People think that reading is something very easy and we can do it at our own ease. But in reality, reading is a very complex process that draws on many different skills. Together, these skills lead to the ultimate goal of reading comprehension or understanding of what's being read. So this is how students that people consider it very easy, but somehow it is not easy. And reading is a complex process as well. So we have to understand that reading is something that has to be taken in care with utmost care, because it is actually involving that reading comprehension also. And what you read must be understood thoroughly. If you're reading just for the sake of reading and you are not understanding what is written on the pages, so it will be useless. So comprehension is something that can be very challenging when we read something, and there can be a lot of reasons for that. But whatever the cause, knowing the skills involved and which one your student or child struggles with, you can help your students at the right way. So that's why reading is something that must be done very carefully and must be taught to do very carefully by the teachers to the students. So students, reading is a cognitive process of decoding symbols to derive meaning from text, as in reading a book or reading music. So this is something that whatever we read in the pages written in front of us, we are understanding actually on the basis of our own learning styles, and we are decoding few symbols, and it is going into our brain, and it is being done in a very minute and very cognitive process manner. So our brain is involved and we are decoding symbols continuously, and we are understanding, comprehending the meaning, whatever is given in the text. So that's called reading. Now we are going to see three components of reading which are very important to understand if you want to understand the concept of reading in a more proper way. So these are decoding, comprehension, and retention. I repeat, decoding, comprehension, and retention. So, first of all, we will have a look on decoding, what it is. Decoding refers to the process of translating a printed word into a sound. What is written in front of you? How would you know that this is B or this is A or this is C or D? Because you have actually learned that symbol previously before reading, and now you are decoding all those words and symbols into your reading for understanding more. So two skills in decoding are identified, like first is identification skill. Whatever you have already learned, whatever the spellings or the words you have been acquired the knowledge about them, so when you are reading you are decoding them. The structures, sentence structures, how the sentence is framed, present, past, or future, in what way the sentence is occurring in front of you. So this is how you are decoding something, you are understanding. Then word attack skills, how you are attacking the words, that means you are grasping and understanding it in a very finer way. All the word meanings give you clear way that the story or any written material is proceeding. So this is how it's working. So next is comprehension. So comprehension is something that is defined as the level of understanding of text message. How you understand when there is a unseen passage is given in front of you. Maybe it is in form of prose or poetry or anything. So this understanding comes from the interaction between the words that are written and how they trigger knowledge outside the text message. So, how your understanding is developed like that, you are going to attain that. So, comprehension students relies on a mastery of decoding. As you are very much comfortable in decoding the words and symbols what are given to you, you are identifying them quickly and you are understanding the sentence structures very easily. So easily you are understanding the concept. So just understand in a simple way that comprehension relies on a mastery of decoding. So children who struggle to decode find it difficult to understand and remember what has been read because their efforts to grasp individual words are so exhausting. They have very little mental energy left for understanding. So this is how comprehension is done. Because actually problem arises when there is problem students face in decoding something. Students are not able to decode the symbols and they are not able to understand particular word, and if they are not understanding, how can they comprehend, they can understand what has been read. So despite of many efforts, so individual are actually exhausted in getting the proper meaning and then have a very little mental energy to left with understanding. So that's why it happens that when you are not able to decode something what has been written, or you are not able to read that, so you cannot comprehend. It is somehow like Indian people are not able to decode the Chinese language or Russian language or any other language they are not comfortable in. So if we are not able to decode, we are not able to comprehend. Then comes the retention. So retention power is something that the condition of retaining or keeping something with you. It could be in short-term memory or long-term memory. So retention is the ability to retain, to stop, to keep something within you. So which relies heavily on a child's decoding proficiency and ability to comprehend what is read. So understand students that reading skills involve three important components: decoding, comprehension and retention. Now students, have a look on the factors influencing acquisition of reading ability. How you are actually reading properly, how your reading ability is influenced. What are those factors? We can see that some of the students are doing wonderful reading and some of the students are facing some challenges in reading. Even a small paragraph, they face a lot of challenges. So this is something that must be taken in care, or factors must be recognized when we are talking about reading. So factors we can see, first of all, intelligence. Yes, IQ level matters a lot. The students of different IQ level read differently. Actually, they decode the symbols in different way. And this is the major factor, that how they decode and how they comprehend anything. So motivation is another something that some students are very much motivated internally to read so many books or comics or stories, story books or any content book. But on the other hand, some of the students are just dependent on external kind of motivation. Only if that is given, or they will be able to read and understand more comfortably. So this is how students we are going to understand. Now next is about home background. Yes, it is an important factor that home background also plays an important role in reading skills. What type of environment you are having at home? Is there anyone at home is encouraging reading habits, or the child is reading something at his own will? So this matters a lot. Then comes very important thing, very important factor, that is related to teaching strategies. So how the teacher is teaching in the classroom, this factor influences a lot in acquisition of reading ability. So vocabulary the teacher is using, comprehension level of the teacher as well as the students, that being done in the classroom, literary appreciations, study skills, how this child is studying, how the extra material is being given to him, how the literary appreciation is being done. So this is something actually influencing acquisition of reading abilities. Then attitude of or towards parents, what kind of attitude the parents are having for reading skills. Okay, fine, this is nothing very important skill. When we are learning a language, this type of attitude is not appreciated when we want to inculcate a very good reading skill among the students. Then sibling, teachers, peers, so all these are very very important for developing the right kind of attitude for the reading ability. Then comes here students motor ocular discrimination. This plays an important role as the motor ocular or the psychomotor, the how you speak and how you discriminate among different sounds when you are reading. Then visual discrimination, auditory discrimination, language facility, interest. These are some of the factors which really influence the acquisition of reading ability. Now, next students, we are going to discuss about required skills in reading. So, skills related to eye movement. So, there is something that we definitely need when we actually read something. And by reading, I don't mean only prose or poetry. It can be anything that you are reading for a newspaper or a book or an article from the journal or a magazine. So this is how you have to be very particular in these skills which I'm telling you right now. So there are 4 skills, like skills related to eye movement, abilities related to visual discrimination, association skills, interpretation abilities. So firstly, we must be able to keep proper eye on the pages. It should not be too close, it should not be too far. So proper eye movement with the words, when we are reading the words, so proper eye movement must be going on along with our reading in our mind. Okay, so then abilities related to visual discrimination, how you are defining, how you are discriminating different words from each other, how the symbols are actually giving you different meaning. So this is something that you must be very much efficient in that. Then association skills. When you are reading, maybe you are doing the loud reading or silent reading. So you must be having association skills, like you are concentrating, you are very attentive. And when you are doing the loud reading, your speaking skills are also associated with the reading skills. Then interpretation abilities. When you are reading something, you are decoding the symbols, and by decoding the symbols, you are comprehending the matter. And then you are retaining that message, what you have got through reading. Then interpretation will be on your own basis, that how you do it. Now students, let's have a look on the stages of reading development, how the reading is developed from ages 6 months to later ages. We are going to describe it very minutely, so let's understand it. Now stage 0 we call pre-reading stage. Preschool ages 6 months to 6 years. This is pre-reading period. This is called stage 0. So 0 stage is related to preschool, where the child is actually not going to school. He hasn't started going to school and home is everything for him. Now pretending to read. Maybe the child is holding a newspaper in his hands and a book in his hands, and he's just pretending to read. I'm reading. Retelling story when looking at pages of books previously read to the child. And when we read something in front of child, and then child understand, okay, this story was actually told to me with the help of this book. So the child is very smart, and child thinks that we are actually understanding it. So naming letters of alphabet, recognizing some signs, printing own name, playing with books, pencils and paper. So these are the stages of development and reading development. So stages are going on. Then stage 1 comes up. This is the wonderful age when pre-reading stage is here. The child enjoys actually. This kind of seed is here being sown. So this is how this stage moves to stage 1. Now initial reading and decoding. Now this is for grade 1 and beginning grade 2, age 7 to 8. And now learning retention relation between letters and sounds and between printed and spoken words. Now the child is actually recognizing what is printed. He is getting those symbols and speaking those symbols. A for apple. On a big page, A is drawn. And the child is getting that symbol in his mind that, okay, A is written. So, being able to read simple text containing high frequency words and phonetically regular words are the main characteristics of this stage of development. Then using skills and insights to sound out new one-syllable words. This is how in this stage 1 initial reading and decoding is done. Then now students comes the stage 2, that is the confirmation and fluency stage. We have seen that stage 0 was related to pre-reading, stage 2 was related to initial reading and decoding. Third stage or second stage 2 comes is the confirmation and fluency. So confirmation and fluency comes at grades 2 and 3. Ages 7 to 8. So in this stage 2, the child reads simple, familiar stories, selections with increasing influences. This is done by consolidating the basic decoding elements, sight vocabulary, and meaning context in the reading of familiar stories and selections. Then now comes the stage 3, reading for learning the new. So grade 4 to 8, classes 4th to 8 are involved in this stage, and age group is 9 to 13. Now in this stage, students, reading is used to experience new feelings, learn new attitudes, and reading is generally from the textbook also. Now we come to stage 4, that is related to multiple viewpoint. And this is called high school, age 15 to 16. And reading widely from a broad range of complex materials, both expository and narrative. So reading a variety of viewpoints is here. The child learns broad range of complex materials, sometimes reference books, sometimes the points, sometimes a large prose, sometimes large paragraphs. So this is how multiple viewpoints are developed in the child, and he is now able to decode many things. Then stage 5 involves construction and reconstruction. This is college and beyond age. So ages 18 plus. So reading is used for one's own needs and purposes, professional and personal. Reading serves to integrate one's knowledge with that of others, to synthesize it and to create new knowledge. Reading is rapid and efficient. So this is how it is constructed and reconstructed. All right, students. So let's we proceed further. Now, after understanding the stages of reading from 0 to 18 plus age, we have seen many different characteristics of reading stages. Now, here we have to see three main reasons why people want to read. Why we want to read? This question comes in the mind, and the answers may be to read the Bible. It belongs to the holy books. Maybe you want to read your own holy books, or the favorite scriptures, mythological books you want to read, and that's why you want to read. Then secondly, maybe you want to read books and newspapers, story books and newspaper. And thirdly, maybe you want to help your children. So that's why people want to read. These are the basic three things that actually leads people to read something. Then, why is reading so important? So let's have a look on the reasons why reading is considered so important. Say students, reading is very fundamental or basic function in today's society. If you can't read, you cannot imagine a very good literate society. Everything is written in instructions, and you have to go through that to get the proper meaning. So when you are actually aware with the reading skills, or you are aware with decoding the symbols, then the life becomes easier for you. So that's why reading is very important. Then secondly, reading is a vital skill in finding good job. Yes, of course. If you are not able to read a vacancy in the newspaper, you are not in good um, reading habit, then how would you read that, and how would you apply, and how would you appear for the job? So it is a vital skill in finding a good job. Then students, reading is important because it develops the mind. It is actually very necessary. When you read something, you decode some symbols and then you retain it in your mind, and your mind is working accordingly what you have read. So this is how it is working. Then next, it is how we discover new things, very nice things. So if we want to go through some research findings or any conclusions which are made around the world, we have to read. We actually must be very skilled in good reading. Moreover, reading develops the imagination, students. When we read a story book, you must have seen the child is lost in his own world when you are actually narrating him or her a story. So this is how imagination also builds up, and this is really very important for a good personality development. Imagination must be very strong of the children, because on the basis of imagination they do a lot of things. They do their work, they do their assignments, they do play, they do answer on the basis of those things. So that's why reading is so important. Then sixth point is related to reading develops the creative side of people. When you are reading, you yourself want to create something, written material that people are going to read. So reading is developed the creative side of people. Then reading is fundamental in developing good habits. Reading is fundamental in developing a good self-image also. So how you present yourself, that's very important. And when you are reading something very good, then you are aware of day-to-day life's events. When you are reading, your fundamental image is very much nice to the other people. Good reading skills, especially in a phonics reading program, improve spellings. So reading helps to expand the vocabulary also. Only by reading can we be armed in this never-ending life and death struggle. So this is only reading how we are going to apply our knowledge to this. So, the fact of the power of written ideas communicated through reading is a foundational reason why some government oppose free and honest communication. So, reading is important because words spoken and written are the building blocks in the mind, and they create the idea in the mind how you are perceiving them. And accordingly, you behave, or maybe there are some certain behavioral changes. So that's why reading is so important, students. Now, let's have a look on the reading problems that different students have. So, the definition of terms I'm going to give you accordingly. What is the different terms are related to reading? So, what are the reading problems? We have to go through them one by one. Now, first is reading deficiency. It is a mild to severe retardation in learning to read, which is disparate with the individual's general intelligence and with his cultural, linguistic, and educational experiences. Then, reading retardation, originally used to designate and condition of all children whose reading was significantly below age and grade norm regardless of the children's potential or intelligence. So this is how considered reading retardation. So deficiency is something that is mild to severe retardation, very mild to severe, and learning to read which is disparate with the individual's general intelligence. Okay, then now comes the third term, that is reading disability. So these are all different problems: reading deficiency, reading retardation, and now we have come to the reading disability. So it refers to retarded readers whose mental ability should enable them to read considerably better than they do. This is synonymous with reading deficiency. Now next is underachiever in reading. So, students restricted to those whose reading performance is not below age and grade standards, but who are judged to be functioning significantly below their own potential level in reading. It is used broadly to designate the slow learner, the disabled learner, the bright underachiever, the reluctant reader, and the culturally and socially deprived pupil. Dyslexia. Defective reading which may represent loss of competency following brain injury or degeneration, or a developmental failure to profit from reading instruction. It is often genetically determined. So this is called dyslexia when the child is facing a lot of problem in reading. Actually, the child doesn't recognize the proper words and symbols, and which is resulting in loss of competency, maybe due to brain injury or degeneration. The next term is related to primary reading retardation. So it refers to a sense of impairment of capacity to learn to read, which although there is no brain damage, this is based on a constitutional pattern of disturbed neurological organization. Then secondary reading retardation refers to a reading disability for which the causation is mainly environmental or external. So these are some terms which I have shared with you. So mainly they were related to reading deficiency, reading retardation, reading disability, underachiever in reading, dyslexia, primary reading retardation, secondary reading retardation, and then these were the important terms that you must see. Now, students, we are going to see about main reading difficulties that students deal with generally. So, what are the main reading difficulties? Let's understand one by one. So, dyslexia, first of all. So, dyslexia is something that is people know about it, but let me clear you that although dyslexia typically affects spelling and writing, the child is not able to spell the word correctly, neither in spoken form nor in written form. including transposing letters and words. He's confused, totally confused, which are the same number. So it can also contribute to reading comprehension problems. When a student has this type of learning disorder, he or she usually has problems with letter and word recognition, as well as difficulties pronouncing words. So it also contributes to slow reading speed. Students who have these issues may have problem with overall reading comprehension, because there can be so many roadblocks that the overall meaning of the word becomes indefensible. So this is something related to incompetency in decoding the spelling and writing the proper symbols. Now this is remedial vocabulary. So students, many students deal with this problem. So many students with the reading comprehension problem have trouble with vocabulary and may fall behind their peers. They typically perform poorly on vocabulary tests when they are given to. They are not finding good vocabulary on that. So this is how it is being problematic with them. So as well as on the standardized test also. So these shortcomings may affect a student's self-esteem and make him or her prone to avoid speaking aloud in the classroom in front of other students and teachers. Now, this is next problem, which is related to memory problem. Memory problem is something that I would like to remind you that in the beginning, I have told you about the main three things that were recording, comprehension, and retention. So retention is something that I'm actually talking about, students, when there is short term or long term memory. So short term and long term memory can be another aspect of reading comprehension issue. When a student actually doesn't fully understand what he or she just has read. So the student will have difficulties in remembering the information. Many times, actually, teachers become angry with students that I have just taught you and you don't remember. Actually, this is their problem they are dealing with. And being a teacher, being a language teacher, we must actually understand this, that child may be suffering from memory problem. So teachers can identify students with memory problems before the issue gets out of hand by using pop quizzes and mini tests after reading sections. So just to retain the vocabulary in their minds. Then omission of words. Some of the students are having this problem, omission of words. Some students with reading comprehension problems omit words when reading aloud or writing. They do not include some words. They omit that. This is the tendency, could be a sign of other disorders such as dyslexia or vision problems. So when teachers see repeated behavior of this nature and carelessness has been ruled out, other reading comprehension tests should usually be administered. So this is how it is done. Now next is ADD, that is attention deficit order. So student with ADD or attention deficit order may be at the risk of having reading comprehension problems because of an inability to concentrate on material for long periods of time. Children affected by ADD typically have short attention spans and have problems not only grasping the meaning of paragraphs or short stories, but also even comprehending a sentence. So this is how it is done. Now students, there are some more difficulties like decoding difficulty. So we know that the reading involves three major components, that is decoding, comprehending, and retention. But what are those decoding difficulties? Let's understand. See students, consistent difficulty sounding out words, and recognizing words out of the context is a decoding difficulty. There may be confusion between letters and the sounds they represent. Maybe slow reading rate when reading aloud. So reading word by word also. Reading without expression is also one of the decoding difficulty, because the child is just reading or giving us few sounds but not decoding it. Ignoring punctuation while reading is also another form of decoding difficulties. Then here comes comprehension difficulty. So what are the comprehension difficulties? Confusion about the meaning of words and sentences. The child is not getting proper idea or proper meaning of what he has read just now. So inability to connect ideas in a passage. Child is not able to write what he has read. And there may be some other problems like maybe omission or glossing over detail. So difficulty distinguishing significant information from minor details are also enhanced. Lack of concentration during reading is also there. Now retention difficulties. Let's understand how the retention difficulties become very severe when the child is actually being given the task of reading. The child is actually facing trouble in remembering or summarizing what is read. And maybe the child is maybe finding difficulty connecting what is read to prior knowledge. So difficulty applying content of a text to personal experiences. Inability to view content from multiple perspectives. Now students, this is the table which is in front of you I have given, and these are the common causes of reading problems, symptoms and remedial strategies. Now cause maybe the decoding problems, and I'm going to discuss symptoms with you, investigation and remediation. Now visual acuity may squint. Regular eye examination can be done as an investigation, and remediation, maybe the eyeglasses are required to do that. So if the vision is not properly, maybe the child is suffering from weak eyes. Then eye coordination, and how the child is showing the symptoms, may complain of losing one's place, skipping lines where I was when the child is reading, or may use finger to track the word. So this is not a good sign, good symptom. So proper eye coordination is very much required. And how can you do the investigation? By examination by a developmental optometrist. So optometrist will actually give the remediation, eye coordination exercises, special glasses or any combination of these, and or board tracking program is also given for that. Then SSS, scotopic sensitivity syndrome, and this may actually reveal the symptoms like may complain of words getting blurry or running off the page at the end of the lines, may not even realize that there is any other way to see this. So he is finding something blurry. Examination is being done, and use of colored plastic overlays or special colored glasses are used for this in SSS. So difficulty knowing sounds that letters make, especially vowel sounds. Symptoms may guess at words and make errors where vowels are involved. So some students show this type of difficulty, that they do not speak the vowel words properly. Then investigation can be done, asked to repeat hard and soft sound words made by each vowel. Each remedial strategies, vowels, sounds and rules. Some people need the intensive remediation involved in auditory discrimination in depth program. So this is how difficulty breaking the words into syllables. May read small words fine and seem to look at the first few letters and then guess at longer words. So investigation is done to show familiar and new words with 3 or 4 syllables at a time and asked to read them. And this will actually lead to repetition, such as teach syllables by feeling movement by or jaw or clapping while saying longer words such as intelligent. So how to break words into syllable of 2-3 letters with a word. These are some other causes related to poor vocabulary, which may symptom into we may miss the meaning of passage due to lack of knowledge of word meaning. Maybe investigation asks students to tell you the meaning of keywords in the passage, even though they may have been read correctly. Then remediation will be leading to work on building vocabulary through the use of personal word dictionary. Then reading books that are too difficult may take a very long time to read a short passage. So check that books are at an appropriate level of difficulty. Use the five finger rule. Ensure that book has no more longer than 5 words per page that the person does not know. So either how to read it or meaning of it. Then the next problem may be arising due to problems making visual pictures of material being read, not taking in the information deeply enough, not connecting new information with prior knowledge. So there are definitely some symptoms leading to them, and then investigation is done, and then in remediation, practice in visualizing what is read. That is very important. Margin monitoring with a pencil or pen in order to create an interaction between author and reader is very essential in that case. So give practice activating prior knowledge before reading and help them to organize news information through semantic. Now students, this is about reading strategies. Play word games, read aloud every day. So these are some reading strategies which must be involved by the students and teachers every day. So while playing word games, reading becomes strong. Reading aloud every day is actually enhancing your reading, your pronunciation, your attention level, your memory level. So your decoding, comprehension, and retention level also. So model reading as an enjoyable activity must be done by the teacher. And put learning to use. Whatever the child has learned in the reading, put that in use. Only then the child will feel my reading is very fruitful. Due to my reading, I'm able to do such work in a very smoother way. Then read to your child every night. Read a short story book or anything you want a very good content to be delivered to your child. So start developing this habit since childhood. Then you may engage children's senses while learning. So it's also very important. Now ways to improve reading comprehensions are as below. So mumbling. How you can improve reading comprehension? Mumbling is the type. Underline keywords, reading. Mumbling is something that you are speaking very, very, very slowly while you are reading. So you are doing mumbling. Underline the keywords. Start the conclusion. Anesthetic reading must be there. Psychomotor part must be involved. Reading on a walk. Just to improve your memory and attention level. Stopping at predetermined reflection points. Visualizing yourself as a reader must be very helpful. Then reading inductively, deductively, it will also be helpful. The special reading place must be there so that the child is reading very attentively and there should not be any distraction. Reading aloud to someone so that the person can give you the feedback in appropriate way. Someone reading aloud to you, skimming or reading are two different things but must be done regularly. Marginal notes, talking with the next. Talking with the text is something that you must use your knowledge in talking to the text. Annotating a text, a reward, hearing the text inside your head. Then visualizing the text, talking through a text, reading and rereading, read and practice. Rumination, spotting with keywords. 20 details, end of text summary. mapping a text. So these are some really good ways to remember. So improve your reading. So point now, there are some points to remember or basic principles of remedial instruction in reading. So treatment must be based on an understanding of a child's instructional needs. What does a child need? That must be understood entirely by a teacher. So remedial programs must be highly individualized. Remedial instruction must be organized instruction. So the reading processes must be made meaningful to the learner. Only then the child is learning more and more efficiently. Consideration of the child's principal worth is very necessary. The reading program must be encouraging to the child. Materials and exercises must be suitable to the child's reading ability and instructional needs. Sound teaching procedures must be employed. And a carefully designed follow-up program is always necessary to examine or evaluate the child. Now, reading teacher's role. What is the teacher's role? Let's describe students in this. So, diagnose each student's reading skill because each student is having individual differences. So, just diagnose the reading skills to ascertain the grade level of the material that the student can read. Diagnose each student's reading skills to determine from a total list of skills which specific ones have been mastered. Be aware of the reading demands and teaching strategies of the content areas so that these skills can be highlighted and reinforced. Provide instructions in these skills at the appropriate level of difficulty. Now, students, let's have a look on the MCQs that I've set for you on general and on the basis of reading skills. So, reading comprehension should focus on 3 areas. Which area is the least necessary regarding reading comprehension skills? Before reading, background reading, after reading, during reading. So after reading is least. So let's proceed to the next question. How should a teacher instruct students with their thought process while reading? So by showing and modeling examples of what to do while reading is the correct answer. In the grammar translation method, the teaching of language starts with the teaching of reading, writing, speaking, proficient. It's reading. The grammar translation method attempts to teach by English rules, skill, function, or use. It is rules. Developed of reaching to the grammar translation method is called the direct method, the indirect method, or the inductive method. So the correct answer is the direct method. This is all about today's class, students. I hope you have really learned something about reading skills, and I really hope you will understand more and more about it. So just keep studying more about it and enjoy it. So students, study, revise this, and just understand that there are many reading deficiencies when teachers teach the students. So you must understand that when as a teacher we are teaching the students, so students are having so many problems, and just being angry with students that they are not understanding something what you have taught will not do something for their favor. So being teacher, we must understand what is their difficulty when it comes to language skills, particularly in today's lecture, reading skill. All right, students. So see you in the next class, and I hope that you will really do wonderful reading skills. So stay safe, stay healthy, keep learning.